News has come forth that former junior middleweight champion for the WBO, Tszyu, is being forced to withdraw from an August 3rd fight with Ortiz due to his injury from the Fundora fight to his head not healing properly and in sufficient time. Let's talk about it. Boxing is all about timing. I'm talking about it's about getting things in order within a span of time that is allocated, whether that's preparation in your journey toward a title, whether it's the opportunity and window to obtain a title shot, or if you've become a champion, you have an increment of time to reign as a champion. But also timing can be something that can hinder someone. And Tszyu, in his case, he was looking for a comeback bout in August on the undercard of Bud Crawford's fight to take on Ortiz. This would have been a quality matchup for Tim, for someone like Ortiz who is seeking title opportunities himself and who has enough spirit to show up in fights to try to win fights. Now, Tszyu, in his last outing against Sebastian Fundora, found himself injured in that fight after an inadvertent elbow cut him on the top of his head, in the crown of the top of his head, at the end of the first round of their fight. This opened up a gash that left Tszyu impaired throughout the fight. The opening round was his solidly. He had gone on into Fundora, gotten inside his reach, and had begun to land his shots most effectively, including possibly breaking Fundora's nose in the process, which also bled profusely throughout the fight. So, as the blood ran, it was the corner and Tszyu's decision to continue through the fight. They had up until the fourth round, in which they still had a chance to go to a no decision because of the injury and to save Tim. But they opted to go the length of the fight, trying to show brass ones. But you've already shown brass ones when you got in the ring to fight professionally. This is a huge setback for Tszyu, because everyone knows that not only is he a threat at the 154-pound division, he does have a fan base, an area that he can fight out of, Australia. And he has a name that could carry weight in the sport. But he's a dangerous fighter because of his style and his aggression and his lineage. His dad, legendary fighter Tszyu, had cut the path before Tim. Against Fundora, after the cut, Fundora was forced to be able to box at range and keep Tszyu on the outside, away from his damaging, short, powerful shots, heavy-handedness, and that which had destroyed his nose. Fundora likes to fight on the inside. At 6'6", he's a big, tall, lanky man, but extremely effective on the inside, and doesn't care to fight and box from the outside, no matter how much his corner has tried to get him to do so. But He found a silver lining in all of this when he elected to box at distance with Tszyu, because the blood that impaired Tszyu's vision and troubled him, and he had to be in excruciating pain as well. Fundora boxed from the outside, used his length, used his size, and had an advantage that Tim couldn't possibly overcome. And Tim fought spiritedly, trying to be effective, but it was just not to be. I believe had the cut to Tim's scalp not happened, that he would have eventually broken Fundora down inside of 8 rounds at the pace of which he had opened the fight. But this was a tremendous change and turn of events and unforeseen. RIP to my brother and comrade Kurt Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, who enjoyed talking the sport's intangibles with me. The cuts and bloodbath that this fight became was an intangible no one could foresee. But what you can do in the aftermath of something like this is take consideration for future in case something repeats itself in boxing, which it has been known to happen quite on the regular. Tszyu now is on the outside looking in, and after Fundora got this decision over him in this fight, they are rethinking things, but it's going to be a tough road ahead because people are not really going to want to fight Tszyu anxiously. Former champion Jermell Charlo ducked Tszyu and kept him waiting with step aside and eventually just dropping titles where Tszyu never had the privilege to try to win the title from him in the ring. And so now that he's lost that title that he was awarded, he has to start from scratch. And sometimes scratch is the back. If you've ever seen the old episode of Martin Lawrence when they were in the DMV and he says, "You got to go back to scratch." And he turned around and looked and said, "Well, where's scratch?" And everybody in the long line pointed to the back of the room. It was a classic episode for Martin. But it applies here to Tszyu and his career, because I'll tell you something. Sebastian Fundora is a short-term champion, and who knows how long Tim could have reigned at the top. But we yearn to see him return, and we hope that he gets well to return. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know, when do you think Tszyu may be able to come back to the ring? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.